So we were talking about woods that you'd use to make backs and sides out of, and we were hoping to actually stay on that path this time. And if we don't, who cares?
Yeah, we'll come up with something interesting. If we do.
Yeah. So again, if I'm thinking about having you build me a guitar, and you want to ask me about woods, where would we start?
Well, here again, I start with type of music.
Yeah. So now I'm maybe what I really do, fingerstyle guitar, but I sometimes play, but I need a lot of volume, but I need a really good balance between the bass notes and melody notes. I don't want a guitar that is going to be bass heavy or top heavy. Now, everybody probably says I want a balanced guitar, but I have a feeling everybody has a different idea of what balanced is.
They do.
So as soon as I tell you just make it balanced, you got to suck some more information out.
Yeah, that doesn't tell me much.
Right.
A big part of it is tempo music.
Okay, so I play some
style
songs.
And tempo.
Yeah, I play some songs like Leo Kottke, Flying, Machine Gun. Yeah, ragtime.
Yeah, so you're playing a lot of notes.
Right.
In rapid succession.
Yeah.
And you probably want a wood that's going to punch that note out there, deliver it, and be done with it.
Okay, yeah. A lot of time, you're right. And for faster stuff, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Now, if I want to play something where my notes are sounding like violin, I want to play Adelita. Do-do-do.
Right. Now you want some sustain.
Right.
And some color, some overtones to really make that note hang in the air.
Yeah. So first of all, are those two different guitars?
They're two different guitars.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find one somewhere in the middle that does pretty good at both.
Okay.
But if you're only going to play fast stuff, you're like some speedy jazz player, or you do nothing but ragtime, then I'm going to tend to give you a wood that has a little more damping in it. It's probably a little lighter, so it's a little quicker to respond.
Oh, okay.
The guitar's not so dark sounding.
Okay.
If you're a Celtic player, maybe, where you want sort of a certain amount of air in the music, and
right.
Or somebody that plays really slow, kind of trippy stuff.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning FM DJ stuff.
Yeah. Then you want a wood with more sustain, more tonal color.
So you just mentioned something there that kind of reaction time of how long it takes for the note to actually finish being created is partly a function then of the back and sides.
Yeah, and it's the whole guitar. The top's important, but the back and sides can influence that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you have quickness of note delivery, and then you have how quickly the note goes away.
Right.
What we call sustain.
Yeah. I was talking to a student just the other day about notes that he was letting ring too long because of the piece we were playing. It was going fairly fast, and he had 2 notes that were too close together on different strings. And I said, we have to start talking about decay or creating decay, stopping this note, muting the note.
Yeah, muting.
And I had to play him the example I want him to hear a half a dozen times, telling him this is what we want and this is what I'm getting, and it took him forever to hear what was going on because the note was in the mid-range. It wasn't low or high. And he's like, God, I can't even tell what's wrong. It was kind of neat. It was a little treasure hunt sort of for explain to me the difference between what I'm doing here or something. And so the wood can help you do that depending on what style you're playing.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, woods like maple and mahogany, koa.
Okay.
They're lighter, they're quick. But they have more damping, so the note's going to decay a little quicker.
So they would be considered maybe brighter sounding woods as opposed to bassier ones.
Yeah.
Or
there's going to be more clarity.
Yeah.
Because they're light.
Yeah.
There's a term I use called darkness.
Okay.
In guitar tone, and the heavier your back and sides are, the more darkness you'll tend to have.
Right. And
it's sort of this thickness that's in between the notes.
Yeah.
That you don't really hear it, but it's just there. It's like body and thickness.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing sometimes.
Right.
It can be very nice.
So, in a nutshell, if you were going to rank the top 6 or 8 backs and sides, sidewoods, hardwoods, from dark to light, could you
I could
spit
do
that out?
Yeah. Well, the super dense woods are going to be darker. Cocobolo.
Okay.
Ziricote. What's another heavy one? A lot of the alternative rosewoods, Amazon rosewood, very heavy.
Okay.
Honduran rosewood. Those are all heavy, dense, dark-sounding woods with a lot of sustain.
Okay.
A lot of tonal color.
So you're calling those alternate rosewoods as opposed to the real famous ones?
Well, the most common are Indian rosewood and Brazilian.
Right.
Yeah. And then recently, I'm saying recently in the last 20, 30 years, other rosewoods have started to become used for guitars.
So with those two,
They keep digging them up. They keep finding new
finding
ones.
new scientists are
finding trees and giving them names, and
because they're not quite the same as last week's one or something. Huh?
yeah.
So then those rosewoods, where do we move from that?
Okay, well then you can get into the lighter rosewoods, and believe it or not, I'm going to call Brazilian a light rosewood because compared to these alternatives, it is.
Okay.
The other ones I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Indian rosewood. Is
Even lighter than Brazilian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are both fairly light.
And for a lot of people, those are the darkest woods they would be familiar with. Like some of the other ones you just mentioned are not talked about very often, except by people that have been looking into guitars, custom guitars, a lot.
Yeah.
So now you're into like what I would call normal woods.
Normal rosewoods, Indian and Brazilian. Even Honduran's been around a while.
Yeah.
But it tends to be a little heavier.
Okay. So you would still classify Cocobolo as the darkest thing out there, pretty much?
Well, it's pretty,
or there's a couple that are all close like that?
They're close.
Okay.
Yeah,
so then
Amazon, the Zircote, Cocobolo.
Yeah. And then when you leave the rosewoods, where are
Castor
we?
Ebony is another one.
Oh, yeah. One of my students has one of those. And it's kind of got this zebra look to it.
Yeah, stripey.
Yeah, really,
it's beautiful stuff.
Pretty neat, yeah. Okay, so
then you get out of that, you get into the softer, lighter woods such as koa, maple, mahogany. They don't have the darkness. You're going to get a clearer, sort of brighter tone.
Yeah.
Quick response. Not as much sustain because they're just not as resonant as most of the rosewoods.
Right.
But they're good for that fast tempoed.
Yeah. And is that about it then for
well,
common
there are
woods?
other woods that I can't think of right now.
Okay, that's okay.
But they generally fall in those two classes. They're the heavy, really resonant woods, or they're the lighter, less resonant woods.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for
those two
overview on some of that.
Two classifications,
That's
and then
great.
everything's a little different from everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's subtleties, but those are the big divisions.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thanks.